guys, Dakota here. I'm here with Andrew Quintana, Arm Fanatic, and we just finished doing some more Armbender interviews, so make sure you stay tuned on his channel because all these interviews are great. They're so much fun. We get to talk to all these different people, all these different backgrounds, and we're all going to meet at one place February 14th for the Montana Armbender at Halftime Sports Bar in Great Falls, Montana. Shout out all the sponsors. Shout out Bensky Towing for sponsoring my match, for sponsoring the main event match, Clifton's match, etc. They do a lot. Actually, I'll pull up the sponsors right now and I'll shout them all out because that would be probably a good thing to do.
I think that'd be a great idea. Yeah, we have so many sponsors, so many amazing ones, and even some of our own community members are sponsoring matches.
Yeah. So, of course, we have Bensky Towing. Again, shout out to them. We have Staybridge Inn and Suites. We have Geeb Land and Livestock. Is it Geeb or Geib, Tim?
Tim Geib.
Geib Livestock. Sorry about that. Westgate Repair, Triple Truck Repair,
which both of those are Bensky.
Bensky, which is yeah. M&D Construction. We have Halftime Sports Bar, of course. Through the Fingers, very very awesome. Pump Tire and Auto, Johnson Madison Lumber, of course. Gear Grabbers Garage. Shout out to them too. They do a lot. And Club Dauntless. So yeah, all those sponsors, you guys are killing it, making this possible, of course. And as you guys can see by the title of the video, it took me a minute to get there, but we are going over the Armbender predictions today. The full official card has been released. No more secrets, no more, oh, I accidentally released this match, which is nice. So we get to just dive right into it, and we're just going to go from the first match of the night all the way to the main event. We'll just kind of run it. We'll talk about what we think about it. And, you know, if this takes us half an hour, perfect. If it takes us 15 minutes, perfect. We're just kind of going for it, so.
Everyone was so excited. I don't know how much of a secret they were anyway. We were all kind of talking, like we couldn't help ourselves. They were so great.
I was live with Miles and one of my other buddies, Luke, and literally it's just like, Miles is like, so who you got, Cody or Groot? And I'm like, It's not out yet. That's not out yet.
Yeah.
Josh Wilson was in the chat. He's like, it's okay. Everyone's excited. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be banned from going live. Which also reminds me, sorry guys, I'm doing a bunch of plugs before we get into this, but I am almost at 1,000 subs, and I am like 400 watch hours away from being able to get super chats and stuff. So I'm going to make a video covering this more in depth, but when I get to the point where I can like get super chats and stuff, I want to start doing some lives where I can sort of give back in a way. So stay tuned for that, guys. There's going to be like a fun thing I have planned for that. But anyways, let's get into the matches here. With the first match, we have Tim Geib and Luke Cody. And we got to see a little preview of this at the little Armbender, just on the different arm.
We did, absolutely. And I feel like that went kind of hand in hand with how I saw the match going at the Armbender itself. I think they're both guys that are pretty much the same on both arms. Their pulling styles similar, and I don't think their strengths are too far off. I will say though that in this one I will predict Tim to win because I think he has the power and I think he has the tools, as long as he doesn't change up anything like he did, and he just pulls the way he knows he needs to pull and doesn't fast for 48 hours before coming in to a match. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say 3-1 Tim on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 3-2, but I am also going to lean Tim just a little bit, just from what I saw at the little Armbender, and also, like you were saying, some factors there. I think that if Tim plays his cards right, he is more than capable of winning this, but I think this match is really fun because all I think it takes is one little mistake, and I actually do think that Luke can really turn the tide, same way it happened at the little Armbender.
Exactly. I think Luke can beat just about anyone if they make those mistakes because he is so experienced. He'll have the most years in the sport, I think, of anyone on the card, maybe other than Corey Miller. Yeah, he's been pulling forever, and if you make a mistake, he's more than willing to capitalize on it, and he has the hand to do it, to expose those type of mistakes as well. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's That's awesome. That's gonna be honestly, I think it's gonna be a great match to get the armbender started off. Athletes have been there for a little bit. People are coming in. It's like, okay, everyone's kind of starting to get rolling, and that's just a fun way because, both these guys are sponsoring the event as well. So I think
Yes.
I think it's a nice little entry in. We got some sponsors pulling, get the cash flowing. That's a really, really good way to start off this.
And the crowd knows them. So
Exactly. Like they're hometown guys in a sense, right? Like people know them personally. And I mean, Luke and Tim are very active in the community. Anytime I'm down in the Great Falls area, he even came up to Lethbridge, he always say hi to him. He's a great guy. Tim always in the YouTube chat. He's always pulling. So it's really nice to see, and I think this is a great match. And we don't, once the ball gets rolling at this armbender, it starts snowballing and it does
it
not
does.
stop.
It
And
really
yeah, we
does.
jump into Dan Grosslook and Ian Johnson, which I mean things are heating up at this point already.
They really are. So Dan and Ian have a storied history. They've pulled so many times. They've gone back and forth. I will say that Ian has got the better of Dan at the last couple tournaments they pulled, either last two or three. But Dan's the type of person, that he's a person that I always ask his opinion on just about anything because he's really a student of the sport, and I think he sees a lot, and he's very knowledgeable. And I just know he's going to have a game plan coming into this. He does have the power. I know when I did the interview with them, they're both talking top roll, top roll, top roll. But I'm just going to be honest. I don't think it should go there. I think if I was Dan, I'm going to do everything I can to bring this inside because his inside game is pretty legendary. He pulls wins off the super heavyweights here in Montana when he gets them inside. So I'm really hoping to see that from him. I'm biased on this one, so I'm going to say 3-2 Dan.
Okay. I don't know. Obviously I talked to Clifton a lot, and Clifton speaks very highly of Ian in this match. He leans his way quite a bit. But I think there's something about the experience of being in the armbender before, and at least for me personally, I can't vouch for Dan, but I lost last year pretty badly to Miles, and that just made me like I get training for my matches, but for this one particularly, I was like, man, like I do not want to lose on that type of stage again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I know if I'm in Dan's shoes, he lost to RJ Harold last year, and I'm sure he's wanting to redeem himself and get that back. And just the truth of the matter is as this armbender grows, you're gonna have to get some wins if you want to keep being on there. Like, there's people who are always going to be invited because they can commentate, because they can do other things. But if you want to be walking out, getting on that stage, you have to, earn your stripes in a sense. And I think that this is the year we're going to see a lot of people earning their stripes and a lot of people, just really having to kind of show the way into what's coming at the next armbender. Mm-hmm. And I think if I'm like me, like Dan, you're on the back foot a little bit, you don't want to be two losses in a row kind of in this position. And so I could see that lighting a fire for him. But regardless, I've heard Ian's top roll is very good. I know even Clifton has said Ian is someone he would want to see me pull in the future. So definitely on my radar. It's an interesting match. I think that it could go either way. But I actually am going to lean Ian a little bit. Not due to any bias, but just because of, Clifton sold me pretty good on what he thinks this match is going to do. And actually, I'm going to give another 3-2 to this. I think that Dan maybe will lose the first one. And then I think he's going to maybe realize, okay, like my top roll that I talk about isn't maybe the lane. I need to make an adjustment. And I could see it kind of going back and forth in a little bit of a chess match that way. I don't know if either one of these guys' ace move will get them through the entire match. I think there will have to be some adjustments made, and I think it's whoever adjusts better. And again, in my head, I can see Dan adjusting a little better than Ian just due to sheer experience, not only in the armbender, but just in general.
Yeah, and I just want to ruffle Clifton's feathers a little bit here, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that, him hyping anyone up on the left arm is, you know, based on his experience pulling them, doesn't hold a lot of weight. Sorry, Clifton, but your left's not your right. So, and until we get back up there, until you get your left on par, then you know, Ian might be pretty weak. Just saying. I know he's not, but Dan's nickname is Deepwater for a reason, because when he does, like, he pulls people in and gets them in that really deep shoulder committed hook, like, it is so hard to move him out of that, like, even as a bigger opponent. And you really don't want to stay in that, because you feel like he's just slowly pulling you into deeper and deeper water. So if I was Dan in this match, I would do everything I can to try to get that hook pulled in the first round, wear him out, you know, take some of the danger of getting flash pinned away by, you know, kind of gassing him a little bit. Because I do think that's probably Dan's biggest weakness in this, is getting exposed from a fast hop roll and a flash pin. So if he does land that hook, I'd want to see him gas Ian, take a little bit of that top end off of him, and then carry forward, because I do think Ian can get a lot of people with a surprise top roll, you know?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be interesting, too, if he hooked in the first round, and then Ian's thinking defend hook, and then he goes top roll? There's some options both ways. It's a very intriguing match. Again, I'll do, I guess for percentages, too, I'd go probably 60-40 Ian, for me personally. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, again, that's a second match of the night out of, what, I think 14 matches?
Yeah.
15 on here.
15 total.
Yeah, 15 total.
Honestly, I'm going to give the favor to Dan, like I said, 3-2, but if I did put a percentage on it, I would say it's 50-50, just because they have gone back and forth so much.
Okay.
But my personal bias, I always want Dan to win, you know?
No, fair enough. That's awesome. And then, yeah, ball keeps rolling, man. I just, interview with this guy will probably be dropping. It'll drop before this video. But anyways, I just talked to Dustin Finley about his match. We had Clifton on there too. And Dustin Finley's pulling Ben Brooks, and Ben Brooks' return on the right arm. And I find this match very intriguing, because the first time I ever heard of Dustin Finley was at Arms Again, the first one where I pulled Dalton. And he was pulling Len. He pulled Len the match before I pulled. And I know how good Len is. And Dustin just had a style that beat Len. And for me to not really hear of someone and have them beat Len, it was very impressive, and it was intriguing to me. Like, how does this guy train? Who is this guy? And then from there, I kind of developed knowing Dustin. But then Dustin pulled Nathan Johnson at the Armbender. And I know Dustin always talks about this. He had an injury or something. But regardless of any of that, Nathan did get him into the hook and beat him pretty handily, which kind of skewed where I think he's at. With that being said, from what I've seen of his lifts and everything, he looks like he's coming in very strong and he's going to be ready. But I think the biggest factor on this match is where we're going to see Ben Brooks at. Are we seeing a Ben Brooks of old that is, you know, kind of coming back off an injury, feeling really good? Or are we going to see a Ben Brooks that, you know, got injured, is still a little hesitant, still figuring things out? Because I think against Dustin, it will be very hard for him to be able to try and feel things out throughout this match and still get a win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ben did look really good against Dylan up in Lethbridge, right-handed. Mm-hmm. And we know how powerful Dylan is. So I think that's definitely showing really good signs for Ben. I do think that he's still not at his peak of where he was yet, but I think he's obviously showing signs that he's getting back there. And I think Dustin's a really good test and step to show that, you know, he's on the right path. But it just goes to show too how volatile arm wrestling can be, because the you know, Ben has headlined this show multiple times, and you know, now he's, you know, in one of the first preliminaries, and I think this is really mentally important for him, and he really wants to win this. So I'm sure he's coming in all cylinders firing to make sure that his momentum doesn't get stopped. But stylistically, I do think that this match can pose a problem for Ben, just because Dustin has really strong center table, and Ben kind of will default into a king's move. Now Ben
Yeah,
has a
with a guy like Dustin.
super long levers,
Yeah.
so he kind of gets really pulled far out. So if Dustin gets his shoulder back, then I worry for Ben there, because again, like you said, Dustin had enough power to pin Len. So
And see, here's my really bad arm wrestling math take that I find funny. I know how strong Dylan is. Don't get me wrong, I completely agree. But I don't know about right now, but the Len that pulled Dustin, like where he was at, I would think that Len and this Dylan are comparable, or Len is still there. And so the fact to me that, Ben did well against Dylan, but really that was a match of elbow fouls. And then when you look at Dustin and Len, you know what I mean? Dustin did very well. And that was a Dustin that was a couple of years ago now. And, he's had time to train, get stronger, do arm wrestling. As much as the armbender match kind of skewed me, I did see Dustin pull in Colorado, got to grip up with him. He feels very strong. I don't know. It's one of those ones where, again, like, I honestly have this match, like, 50-50 or 55-45 for Dustin, just because I don't know where Ben's at. He did look good against Dylan, but with that being said, Dustin Finley and Dylan Houghton are completely different pullers, and Dustin's kind of coming forward at you, whereas Dylan wasn't quite doing that attack.
yeah, so I would kind of go along the same lines, except for I'm going to put it the other way in Ben's favor, just because I think Ben is very versatile. He'll press his as well. He will top roll, but most importantly, and what a lot of people forget is that he was really known for his hook, like one of the few super heavyweights that would hook. And so I think if he can get forward before Dustin, and Dustin is an explosive guy, so it's kind of hard to get forward on him first, but kind of like the same thing Nathan did. And I can see Ben prioritizing the hook and getting in there and just pulling him out of that press, beating him out of his shoulder. Because again, Ben is really experienced, and he's pulled at a very high level. He's been top 20 in the hook rankings on the right hand before. He's pulled lots of really high caliber opponents. So, I do think that this is going to be a really, really interesting chess match of that kind of who gets the better start, who's a little bit more fast, a little bit more explosive, or maybe it could just be a hand control thing, like who can manipulate that starting grip the most. Because I think if Ben gets this in a hook, then from what we've seen in the past, that it's not going to be a good day for Dustin.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think I don't know about a kryptonite, but something that's caused Dustin issues in the past, like you said, is like that Nathan Johnson kind of style, get right on your arm, so you can't even press if you want to. Like, you go for a flop, but the person's got you here, so you're kind of denied, and then you're outside of your shoulder at that point. It can be a struggle. And I will agree. Okay, I have a question for you on this match, actually. Who do you think has more raw power right now?
Dustin.
See, I would agree with that. And so I think it's going to be interesting because I give Ben the technical advantage. And so can Ben's technical ability skew Dustin enough from getting into his lanes that he wins? And it's interesting because I think, it's a best first to 3 pins. Ben has 3 shots at it. If Ben tries something and it doesn't work, he can try something else.
Yeah.
And Ben is the type of guy, I believe, anyways, where it will try something else. He's not one of those kind of stubborn, same thing, only harder kind of guys. Like, he's like, let's hit a new lane, let's hit a new angle. So I think that makes this match fun, just because if Dustin gets the first round, Dustin might not get the second round. And if Dustin gets the second round, he might not get the third.
And the last caveat I'd like to make is when I do say he has more power, that is assuming that he's able to get his shoulder committed.
Yes.
He has more power sideways and down because he's kind of like Zach.
Yeah.
This motion. So if he gets that wedge, I don't know. Like, does Ben even want to try to pull him out of that, or, maybe just reset and start over because he could wear himself out. So yeah, this is a fun match. This is a really fun match.
Yeah, we're the first 3 in, and we're just having a good time already. But yeah, no, I mean, very, very close matches thus far. I mean, I could see one of these maybe just happening to be a 3-0, but I think if both pullers show up where I think they should be, these are really close matches. Even if it's 3-0s, it doesn't look that way when watching.
And it's kind of tough for, I think, primary pressers, because I think a lot of times it can look like they're beat easy, but it was like that setup is a real big fight, you know? Mm-hmm. And if they did land their move, like it could have went the other way. So yeah, that's kind of one of the silver bullets of being a press 100%. Dominant person.
Next, we have the first women's match of the Armbender. We actually just finished interviewing Suzy, but we have Scarlett Jade Wood versus Suzy Ann. And yeah, I mean, this is an exciting match, a little bit of a historic match. From what we just talked to Suzy, she seems quite ready, and she's not coming all this way to lose by the sounds of it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say that kind of like our impression came off, like she doesn't leave stones unturned. She seems like a very well put together, well thought of, and she has a coach, Sandris, who's an amazing coach to have, and she works with him in person right there. So she's definitely gonna be prepared for this.
I think she's gonna be prepared. The way she was talking about her lifts, it seems like she might be comparable to Scarlett in the strength department as well. Again, I've watched Scarlett pull a little bit, but I'm not too in depth on either of these girls. But from my perspective thus far, Suzy's impressed me today. She sounded like she's very thorough. She was talking about preparing, watching the referee. She was talking about preparing, and I think that preparation aspect will give her a technicality edge, and training with a guy like Sandris is very important. But, Scarlett has Cody Wood to train with, and he is, for his size and everything, raw power is very impressive. So I know they know how to get strong over there. So I think this could be one of your classic, strength versus technical capability setup and everything. But I don't know. I got to hear Scarlett talk. I got to hear what she has to say. But for me, as of right now, I will go 55-45 for Suzy, just because I think she's coming prepared. But I know how hard it can be to do the travel. I know how hard it can be to come that far and not have that much time to recover. And I think that those aspects will make this match very close.
Yeah. I do, like I said, or like you said, it's there's no arm wrestling math to go off of on this one, so we have to make a lot of educated guesses and inferences to kind of land to our conclusions here. We haven't had a chance to talk to Scarlett yet, so I'm really interested to see what she has to say. So maybe we'll have to make an addendum to this. But yeah, based off what we just heard, it does sound like the strength might be quite comparable, which is what Scarlett is kind of known for here in the U.S. is just being dominating strength department. She high hooks people, and the only way to get a high hook is if all your fundamentals are stronger than your opponents. So I think that it's going to be a really interesting match, and like you said, I think it could come down to whether or not Scarlett is able to get a dominant position in the start, in the setup, to where she can actually apply her strength. But from what it looks like, from looking at matches of Suzy's matches, is she's kind of similar to you, and she's a power taker, So she could very well dismantle Scarlett's game, and I think stylistically her low hand is excellent, like top notch low hand. Proven at Worlds, she pulls against the Latvian team, like we just heard. I am going to give the edge to Suzy at this time too, just because I think stylistically it's going to be really hard for Scarlett to get inside with her, really hard. And not that she necessarily needs to go inside. It's just, we've seen the high hook a lot from Scarlett. And so it'll be cool to see where this match goes. But I think Suzy's low hand is going to be really hard to deal with. Yeah, no, fair enough. It can be tricky, right? Like, I would argue that high hook is probably one of the best counters to a low hand, your high hook or your posting top roll, rather than diving into a deep hook. But with that being said, sometimes, like we've talked about, it just doesn't matter. And I know better than most, I would say, because pulling with Matt,
all the time. Like, you could literally have the best denial of all time for that guy, but he's still going to low hand you.
Right.
Obviously, that's a crazy comparison, but just you never know. Sometimes if people get what they want in the setup, they can apply enough back pressure. When she was talking her lifting weights today, like we won't go too in depth, but it seems comparable. And if you can even neutralize a little bit of that side with some back and deny high hook, it can be a very interesting match.
Yeah, I think the only thing that you might say is just, again, I don't know 100% for sure because we don't have a lot of info, but it looks like Scarlett has a longer lever, so she might have a little bit more height. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
Which can change someone, because if you high hook and you're got a shorter lever, you kind of have to resort to that internal hook unless you make them drop their lever enough. A lot of technical aspects. So again, it'll be very interesting. This will be interesting because the corners, there's gonna be a lot of corner work on these as the ladies come back. You know what I mean? You're gonna have Cody being like, "You gotta do this." You're gonna have Sandris being like, "You gotta do this," and two guys who have both been on the big stage, East versus West, and you can't deny that what they've been doing has been working for them. So very impressive. Moving forward, Chuck Young, Easton McCormick. This is going to be fireworks either way. Now, I've watched some of Easton's matches, but the first question I want to ask you is when Chuck's getting fired up and riled up and he's doing his thing, do you think Easton is going to kind of feed into that and match it a little bit? Or do you think Easton is going to be calm, cool, collected? He's going to let Chuck kind of, if there's a slip and Chuck smacks the table, he's like, "Oh, this is my match." You know what I mean? Do you think he's just going to kind of be like, "Hey, like I'll let my work do the talking"?
I hope Easton kind of has fun with it because I think that's kind of the best way to kind of come back at Chuck and that energy. But
100%. I'm
knowing
telling
Easton,
you can get it. You saw it firsthand at Armageddon when he was pulling Travis. I was like, I got to do something about this. So I started chirping him, and I was like, yeah, this is so much fun.
No, you're 100% right on that. That's I think that's the best counter to what you could say. So it is part of Chuck's strategy. Like don't take away from that at all. That is a strategy of Chuck's, is his pre-match antics.
He's trying to big dog you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He does, I personally, and I could be completely wrong with this, but I think he does it for two reasons. I think when he tries to big dog someone, he's big dogging them to help his own confidence.
Yes.
But not only that, he's trying to do that to also make you believe what he's saying. Because words put into the atmosphere, you know what I mean? You can either reflect them or you can take some in. And when Chuck's spitting that many words at you, even if you let 3 or 4 kind of roll into your head while you're arm wrestling, can really affect the match. Yep. So I think Easton's best bet will be, you can have fun with it, feed off of it, try and big dog him back, say something, but get control on the table. Because, you know what I mean? Even those guys on the biggest stages in the world who are talking big smack, if they get pinned, if they get beat, it's really hard to be down 1-0, 2-0, and being like, you know what I mean? Like, there needs to be an inkling of hope. And so I think if Easton takes all that away, this match is interesting to me because I could see this match being at its closest at the very start.
Yes.
Like, some matches, like, I think Tim and Luke or Ian and Dan, like, can kind of back and forth. I think this one, these guys are going to collide. There's going to be a big ego, and then however Easton handles it. And then from there on, it's going to kind of fall in whatever direction it goes. Because if Easton takes over, Chuck's confidence is going to go away. It's going to kind of be like when Chuck and Brian pulled. It was clashing, and then Brian hand control pressed them, and then round 2, round 3, and Chuck kind of fell. Yeah. Whereas Chuck's going to get a win, he's going to find a lane, and he's going to run with that, and it's just going to kind of go and go and go.
Chuck is definitely a momentum pooler. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I like about this match is even though Easton's known for being very calm, cool, collected, not really saying much, just going up there, putting his arm down and letting things happen, but they are both arm wrestlers that they fully commit to their move. It's one of the reasons that Chuck is so dangerous for a lot of people. Is a lot of people kind of like to feel the pressure and absorb a little bit, but if you don't go all in with Chuck, he's really hard to beat because he commits so hard to his hit. But Easton's the same way. He fully commits every time. He doesn't leave anything on the table. So I think, like you said, the first round is probably going to be the closest. and I'm really excited, and why I was so pumped for this match is to see like what happens when they both just like go side, because even though their moves are different, the lane they're going through is a lot the same, and where they're going to meet, where Chuck is going to be more through this portion of his hand, and Easton's probably going to come more almost high hookish, and that's where he's going to try to go. But they're both going to meet there in the center, and it's going to be about that side pressure, and they're both going to be fully committed, and seeing who doesn't give up and who keeps pulling through is going to be really. And I know, even though Chuck, for the most part, and like you said, the Bryan match has always been known as a heavy momentum puller, lately he has been kind of changing that up a little bit, where he's been pulling harder and trying to stay in the match. Like we saw with Travis, he wasn't known in the past to, like, if he didn't get the exact start he wanted, to keep trying to pull hard. He'd rather let it go and just try to get a better start. But again, like you said, just the persona of Chuck coming up to the table. And I think what might even be more of a problem for Easton is seeing how he reacts to the constant letting go of the hand and messing around with the grip and just doing all those little things that Chuck does, because that is it's so frustrating.
Walks away from the table, you're like, ref, come on, like, foul this guy. But yeah, no, but I mean, it can be frustrating, but you can play with it too, because that's what I was trying to do, because I think some people will just be like, oh, like, this isn't normal, this whatever. But, lip him off a little when he walks straight from the table, Like, I was like, oh, he's blowing up, he's tired, he needs another walk. And then he just gets more frustrated. And, it's not part of his plan, I don't think. I don't think any time his plan is to be kind of talked back to in a way like that. Like, he maybe wants you to meet his energy. But there's ways for both guys here, and I'm really curious about this match. Chuck's been looking really good lately, but Easton is a force to be reckoned with. One thing
I will say, Chuck, though, is he's taking this match extremely seriously, and he has been, like, actually specifically arm wrestling training, preparing for this opponent, which he never has really done. He doesn't really give that, like, he trains the way he trains, but he's training for Easton. Yeah. So, and he has a coach, and he won't say who it is, but he has a coach, and he does seem to be extremely powerful right now, and it may be the best Chuck we've ever seen. So this is going to be just fun. And again, it's a Montana match, so I'm going to be biased here, and I'm going to give Chuck the edge. But I will say that I do fully believe 100% that Easton is going to be a huge star, and I think that we're going to see him on the East vs. West stage or similar stage very soon, because his upward trajectory is just, if you want to pull him, if you're a top guy, pull him now. Like, this is your time. This might be your last opportunity.
No, for sure. I completely agree with everything you said. I do think that is Chuck's coach going to be there?
I don't know. He said that he has a coach. I don't know too much about the details of who it is or what it is, but or if it's a local person or a remote coaching situation. But like I said, I just know he's taking this match super seriously, and we're going to see the strongest Chuck ever.
Yeah. Clash of the Titans is going to be really fun. I will give Easton the edge, but again, like, this is close. Like, I'm going to say 55-45, just because I've seen what Chuck's been doing lately. Another fun match. These first 5 matches are crazy.
Yeah. These
and
are the preliminaries.
I know. Keep it rolling. Jake Houston and RJ Harold. Very interesting match.
Very interesting. I really struggle with this match personally, because I think RJ, like a lot of the Idaho guys, like Team Idaho came out of nowhere like 2 years ago, and they just had a bunch of really good guys. Brian lost to is another Dustin, I think. I can't try to remember his Till.
Yeah,
his brother.
Is it David Till or Dustin?
Yeah, David's older brother, and
Dust. Yes, you're talking Brian Parliament.
Yeah, Brian.
And he pulled at the Valentine's Day thing last year.
Yeah, and a lot of people thought that was going to be a shutout, in terms for Brian, just because.
Yeah, and then he gassed out. Yeah.
no one's really seeing the Idaho team, but they've just been bursting onto the stage. You got Alexander Groot, RJ Harold, who was the Idaho champion before Alex beat him. He beat Dan last year pretty convincingly, honestly.
Yeah.
And I just think that RJ has shown a lot of upward trajectory, and I hate to count him out, but ever since Dustin lost to Alex last year, I think he's taking that very personally, and we just saw him at the Monster Factory. Or Jake, yeah, Houston
No, you're good.
lost to Alex last year. I think he took that really kind of personally because he wasn't expecting to. And we saw him at the Monster Factory completely demolish Dan the Nightmare.
Yeah.
And he's looking like the Jake Houston of old. And I think that's a scary person to be across the table from.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think RJ's a really good puller. I have a lot of fun when I'm pulling with him and stuff. I've only pulled him a few times. But I gotta say, this match depends on what Jake shows up. And if Jake's training, if he's hitting weights, I don't think it's anything against RJ. And I'm not going to lie, I counted him out against Dan last year too, so he might prove me wrong. But I do think that Jake is going to take control early. And he's... You know what? I just want to say this because I think this would be great. If Groot does not beat Cody Wood and Jake is on another tear, I would love to see a rematch.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a rematch at the 2027 Armbender.
To prove it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, literally. So either Groot can be like, nah, like, I'm telling you guys, I'm just that guy. Or Jake can be like, hey, give me one more crack.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. Mm-hmm.
But
that'd be super fun to see.
Yeah, I digress in that sense. I do have Jake quite a bit of a favorite. I'll probably say 70-30. I think the lever that RJ has can pose some threats, especially at that weight that they're at. But I think Jake's seen it all, and he's done lots. And, I mean, we saw how Groot handled RJ when they pulled. And I think that Groot's just on another level right now. And I would argue that Jake is at that level, just some adjustments. So
Yeah, I do believe that we didn't see the best Jake versus Alex last year. Not to take anything away from Alex.
I was going to say, no discrediting. I think he's more than worthy of the shot that he has. But I just think that I would like to see it again. Let's guess what I'm saying.
What I will be most interested in this match to see, because the thing that RJ is most confident in is his hand. He says, it's rare for anyone to challenge his hand. He pulls with Alan Fisher, and Alan Fisher doesn't have anything for his hand, and Alan's known as being extremely hand dominant. So, and again, Jake's another person where he doesn't have a huge, massive hand, but he's just known where it doesn't crack, it doesn't break, it doesn't move, in that speed. But sometimes having if RJ does have a really dominant hand, it can dismantle some of that speed that Jake is known for. But after seeing that match against Dan at the Monster Factory, I don't know. Jake's just one of those people I can't bet against. Like, he's just too much of a proven quantity. So I do want to say 60-40. I want to say 60-40.
Yeah, that's fair. Mm-hmm. He's a cool guy too. Like, he's nice to talk to. You get on table with him. Like, all these guys are great.
And he beat Todd Hutchings at the Armbender 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you. Like, I've 1, 2, 3, 4. I've pulled like 8 of the people we've talked about so far, and they've all been great. It's awesome. And keeping the ball rolling is my match: Brian Johnson, Dakota Shipton. So I'm right after Jake and RJ. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go. I actually, Suzy said this in the interview on Andrew's channel, Arm Fanatic. So I think you should go check it out. But she said you can study an opponent, but you never know what surprises they're gonna present to you, and that's how I feel with Brian. I think Brian, depending on the day you pull him, is very different. So I think when I look at all of his previous matches, I can get an idea, but I have no clue what he's going to be presenting to me. And I have not no clue, but it's my left arm. My left arm has its lanes, but sometimes my left arm feels good in some spots and sometimes feels good in other spots. And it's going to be a matter of finding what feels good for me and hopefully what feels bad for him. and really overcoming that arm lock and endurance barrier that people talk about.
Mm-hmm.
People like Clifton was telling me too about this match, and he's like, I think you need to. He's like, he's like getting a stop, he's like should be attainable, but then he's like getting through the arm is another thing. And the more I watch, I think it's interesting because Brian in his last match posed his biggest threat to Dalton when he was hitting. Yeah. So I actually think I have two big barriers in this match for me personally. I think the first barrier is getting a stop. I think getting a stop is like checking the first check mark. I think the second barrier is working through the locks and the angles that Brian is going to be pushing at me, because I have to do this in an efficient enough manner that he either gasses more than I do, or that I can get pins and still do it 3 times.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that, because I have experience with Brian earlier this year or last year. The middle, I think it was like the beginning of August, I pulled him. I was down on weight again. When I was trying to be the 176. So I wasn't able to find a stop until that 3rd round. So I do know his hit was really hard, because again, I know I don't know if you'll necessarily be like your hand size difference will be that big, but Brian does have a big hand.
Though. Like people I think sometimes overplay my hand a little bit. Like it's a good size hand, but like Brian has that level where it's just like kind of the next step in a big hand.
For me, what I've had the most difficulty with was finding a way to hold him in the setup that felt good, where I didn't feel like I was in a bad position. I found that in the 3rd round, and I was able to stop, like where you saw Dalton, is Dalton kind of stopped him. No, we didn't go to straps.
See, here's my thing, and I know Brian's really good in straps too. This is one thing I'm curious about. I feel like we're gonna go to straps at some point. I know he's kind of hard hand to get around, but I would also argue that Miles has a really hard hand to get around, and I was able to slip on Miles. I think with big hands like that, if you get into the strap sometimes, because you're not really holding on to the hand anymore as your leverage point, you're using where your strap is anchored on your arm, it can make it feel a little more comfortable to grab a big hand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the strap. Yeah, when I feel really uncomfortable, if I can get away from that hand, then I definitely want to. I didn't have that tool in my bag yet. I think I have that now, but I didn't have that tool in my bag yet to get away from his hand at that time. But I would definitely agree that when you don't like the setup, go in the strap, because that changes everything. I do think that power-wise, I think that this is a really good match in terms of I think you both can get stops, and I think you both can pin each other in the right circumstances. It can go a lot of different ways. And I know in the past I've said 55-45, where I favored Brian, pulling Dalton, and then after the Dalton match, it's hard. Because I'm definitely always going to be biased for Montana, like you probably always will be for the Canadian guys. But I just think that this is a really exciting match. I'm interested to see where you've improved, because the matches with Caden, you looked already improved from your match with Ryan. And, I just want to, like, if you've gained enough power to control that hit and stop the hit, I definitely think it actually goes more into your favor in that regard, because of what we saw with the Dalton. Like, normally what we saw with the Dalton matches, I think, was surprising for Clifton and a lot of other people who've known Brian in the past, because we just haven't really seen people do that before. So it kind of, begs the question, is Brian not have those locks or those lanes anymore? Was Dalton just too explosive in his pronation and his roll that it just didn't matter? And that's what I like kind of about our group that's kind of come up here in like the Alberta, Montana area, because I think we're all progressing together, and we're all kind of like going up and down, and like one gets a little ahead and one gets a little back, and so it's just really like seeing all these different chess pieces, because I just think it's an exciting time to be in the sport, and I love that we've kind of built this back and forth, but dude, like this match is actually really exciting for me because Brian, I have to get a win on. I have to get some revenge on him. Personally, I don't think it's going to be close now that I'm up in weight, but I can't say that until I've actually got him. Same thing with Dan. But and I want to pull. You're someone I want to pull in the future. So any match that you do, especially against someone I have experience with, is going to be really interesting to me. So yeah, no, this is one of my favorite matches on the card, and because I think it holds a lot of personal significance, and yeah, I'm just excited to see how, like I said before, the puzzle, because Brian is a puzzle, and I'm just curious to see how you approach that puzzle.
Yeah. Well, I want to touch on one more thing. I don't want to be that guy that talks about my match for a million years, but you did say that you actually think that my best lane might be the hook. I remember you said that at one point. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because when I was with my match, and again I was down on weight, but when I was kind of trying the outside game, because I wanted to get away from his hand, he felt like the gap felt insurmountable because he was just bringing me over to the pad, and I was like, man, I'm not even in the same league as him. But the third round, I was like, whatever. Everyone tells me to stay away from his hook, stay away from his hook. I was like, I'm going to get out of my head. I'm just going to do what I do. And I didn't have enough power at that time, but I stopped him, and all of a sudden he felt human. And I kind of pulled him back, and I pulled him around, and I got a little overexcited, and I went sideways without going up and back. And then he was like, oh, press. So
yeah.
So I opened myself up to that press, but all of a sudden he felt human. He felt like, I can win now. So again, styles, we have very different levers and all that, but that's where I felt like I had a lane. And that's where he felt, to me, approachable and manageable. So for my experience, like I wouldn't give him the outside option again.
Yeah. Interesting. Before we move on, do you think if we pulled right arm, it would be the same, or is that a completely different match to you?
I think his right arm is a lot different than his left. I think his right arm is more tricky, but I think his left arm has more power.
Okay.
Like, if you go back and look at the matches, he gets into some, like his match with Miles, he got into some weird positions.
Do you have footage of that match?
Yeah.
You should send it to me, because it's not on YouTube anymore.
Do you have Gelder's info?
I should message him.
Yeah, he'll send you whatever footage you want if you just message him.
Huh.
From any of the events. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Moving on. I think actually to...
And I know Miles definitely has the footage.
Okay. Anyways. So we have Robert Petley and Tyler Weaver.
Oh, man. So... Okay, here's my honest thoughts. Tyler has so much side power, like sideways strength, like what you saw against John at the Armageddon.
Yeah.
He'll pull without his hand, and honestly, he kind of just lets his hand go. I really hope he makes some adjustments, because his hand is actually stronger than it looks. Mm-hmm. It's just because that sideways lane feels like it's there, he just goes for it, and he's willing to give that up. Yeah. But Petley is so hand dominant, especially in the early rounds, that I just think that I think that's going to be too much early on. So I kind of see Petley coming out and blasting the first 2 rounds. But like we did see, he gave Ian a lane in the 3rd round at the Lil Bender, and Ian was able to stick him.
Yeah.
And Ian is actually really strong in that sticky point. You have to work pretty hard to get through him. But I would say Tyler's a little bit stronger than Ian in that side lane. So I think that if Petley is slow or off his move, that Tyler can just work him over. But as long as Petley doesn't play around, if he just goes and just tries to pull him in and his hand doesn't get tired, then I think Petley should win.
That's how I feel. I actually completely agree with what you're saying here. I think Petley should win. I think if he shows up and he pulls how he did against Ian, but he just gung-ho, balls to the wall, no playing around, because he's so solid, I think he'll win. But I think if he gasses, or if Tyler does something maybe weird that manages to get a stop, I could see it taking a turn. With that being said, I honestly got to go like 60-40 for Petley, just because of the fact that that's such a hard move to stop. And even if he does get stopped, I think his best bet would be, if he can't go through it, just to let it go and try again. And from center to pin, it'll be hard to stop him.
I'll say that if Tyler stops him in the third round, his chances of going up, of coming back and winning, are pretty decent. Mm-hmm. But I think if he stops him in the first 2 rounds, then I think Tyler's going to win.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, another exciting one. There's going to be a lot of money on the table for this one.
Yep.
Petley always brings in the cashola. So.
Oh, yeah. Great Falls loves Petley.
Dude, I know, it's funny. I gotta become a fan favorite in Great Falls, man. Yeah. I just gotta go around and start talking to people.
I think you are. People are excited to see you up there.
That's fair. I'm a little more known than I was last year, which I think will be it'll be exciting. You know, it's nice when, like, obviously I'm expecting people to cheer for Brian. It makes sense. But it'll be nice to know I have like an inkling of people knowing who I am, or like, oh, he's back, which will be very exciting.
They'll be cheering for Brian, but if you pull off the win, they'll be happy for you.
That's 100%. Fair. You know what? I think if we have a really good match and like I could see it going, it could be like a lot of people will become more fans of both of us, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And moving on, we're getting into the meat and potatoes now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we have Nathan Johnson and Miles Hutton on the left arm.
You want me to start with this one?
Sure.
You know, these are both guys that I really like a lot. I have a lot of history with Nathan. You know, Miles is a good friend of mine. And you know, again, I'm always going to root for the Montana guy, and Miles is a good friend. And I just think Miles' upward trajectory, if this was right-handed, based off of like Nathan's best showings on the right hand, I would really, really, really like this match. And I know, you know, Nathan's been saying his left hand is really good and maybe even better than his right has been. It's just really, really hard for me to see Miles losing right now in his weight category. And I do, like, again, as much as I will not, you know, doubt against North Dakota team's ability to get stronger and close that gap. So I would not be surprised to see Nathan in the match or even winning. If he does, like, I wouldn't be surprised. But I do, my head and my heart just say that this is a mismatch, and I think that Miles' left is way too much.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a funny thing with Miles, and I think this happened with me as well, as just because of the trajectory he's on, and he's training with the Medicine Hat guys. He's very committed. You know, he just got a new setup at home, so he's training at home now too. I think what we're seeing with Miles is matches are getting announced, and they're good matches. By the time the match comes and we get there, Miles has hit another level.
Yeah. And
I think Miles is very good at super match prep. I think Miles poses a lot of threats in the hand and in areas. And it's hard for me to say because I hear, you know, Clifton tells me about Nathan, and Miles, I talk to him and he tells me about where he's at. I think if Nathan can avoid the hand and get it arm on arm, that is his best chance. But I think it's really hard to get around Miles' hand and be in a position where you're like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, if you have to fight to get around the hand, by the time you get there, you're like this, or you're like this. Yeah, I want it to be close. I do. But again, I gotta go like 70-30 Miles, just because it's left arm. Just, you know what I mean? But
his left hand is really fast, too.
I really like Nathan. That's the thing. He was great to me last Armbender. We sat and we talked. He's a really stand-up guy. I really enjoy both these guys. So this is one of those ones where it's like, I don't want to see either guy lose. But that's the name of the game.
To put a feather in Nathan's hat, though, I will say Nathan's hand and his containment is extremely good, and I'm sure on his left hand it's not bad either.
Well, he beat
Um,
Petley on the left arm last year and
yeah,
Dustin on the right arm, right?
yes.
Yeah.
hmm His the thing that I'll be excited and what will be a huge moment for me is if Miles goes for the top roll and just contains the top roll and
Sticks
is able
him.
to get like an early win, because like if you top roll someone, you just like bounce off their containment, then you kind of get put into a bad position, and then that hook can get sunk in really in a terrible position. So that would be an extremely exciting moment for me, and I think that would be like really really awesome to see, and I hope Nathan can show something like that. Um, but yeah, God, it's just so hard for me to see anyone getting around Miles' hand. Like I struggle with it.
I know. It's it's an interesting, again, another puzzle, right?
Yeah,
Because it's good. But yeah, moving on. Clifton, Erickson, Jordan, Sill, right arm. This match is like beating a dead horse. As talked about
Jordan
so much.
Sill, 80-20.
Oh, you're funny. Clifton's gonna shake his head at that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I think Clifton talks to a lot of people. I like to think I talk to Clifton more than most, but I probably actually don't. But we FaceTime, we train. The weight the guy pulls is crazy.
yeah.
Like, you can ask anyone, the weight he pulls is crazy. For Clifton, it's table translation. For Clifton, it's keeping his hand. And for Clifton, it's not forgetting about what he needs to do. I think with John, he didn't go to straps soon enough. I think he wasn't ready to fight speed and explosiveness as much as he should have been. But we saw how that match looked when it stopped. You know what I mean? There was a bit of a mistake on the elbow foul call, some things like that. But in reality, like in my opinion, I think John won that match 3-1. That's how I view that match. You can agree, disagree, but I think those two elbow fouls should have counted as a loss, and then I think we restart, and then John wins 3-1.
Yeah,
But Sill is a bit different than John. I
way
don't think
different.
Sill is as explosive. I think Sill is powerful. But I think that plays more into what Clifton likes.
100% agree.
I know Clifton's training hard. Clifton's already 30 pounds heavier than when he pulled John,
Yeah,
which is interesting. Will that play well? Will that not play well? Clifton says he feels good, but it's hard to count out a guy like Sill. You know what I mean? He shows up consistently. He always does great things, and he's a very good puller who's seasoned. He's pulled the likes of a lot of guys. Will he be taking it seriously? Is he more focusing on Logan? Is he more worried about Logan? There's things you have to consider when a guy's pulling two matches at different times in the same day. Regardless of that, I I'm like you. I'm a little biased for Clifton. I'm going to lean 55-45 for Clifton. Is that the smartest betting choice? Probably not. I mean, if you were to go on, if this was on DraftKings, I would say Clifton is, plus 200, plus 180, somewhere in there. But I just see the effort he's putting in, and when you have a guy who's hungry like that, it's hard to deny him. It's like the whole Victor thing. I love Victor. I think he's a great puller. I always love watching him pull. But with a guy like Clifton who can lock his elbow in there, it can be hard even getting position to finish it. And Clifton is a little crazy. He teeters on that like let it break. I'd rather have it snap than lose kind of mentality, especially when he's up there. Like even at practice, he's drilling weight and he's like grunting and yelling, and I'm like, dude, we're training, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, so there's things like that which I favor him, and I think he does want it and probably needs it a little more than, well, when I say needs it, it's different. He wants it more than Sill. I think Sill needs it for credibility purposes,
yeah.
but I think it means a lot more to Clifton.
Absolutely. When you have a name like Jordan Sill, any win or loss is kind of a big deal, because again, he's literally been the gatekeeper for the top 5 in North America on both arms for a decade. So if you beat him, you have arrived. And, I'm just going to tell you, Dakota, I do have a feeling, and maybe I am biased too, just because, again, I feel like I'm friends with Clifton. We do FaceTime from time to time. But I think Clifton's arrived, and he's coming in with a lot of momentum from the Victor match, where he showed, his power to pull without his hand is there. So even
On
if
a math
Jordan's,
table too. Like
yeah,
Victor had a lot of room to move and gain advantages.
tons of room,
Yeah.
and this like again, yeah, maybe it's not smart money to bet against Jordan, but I honestly think that Clifton is going to win this, and I think he's going to win it 3-0.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
no,
interesting.
I have a feeling. I have a really strong feeling, and I'm not just saying that because he's my friend. I really think his time is here. And
That's exciting, and this match is going to be great. Other than my match, it's probably one of the ones I'm most partial to. Like, obviously, I want to see Miles and Nathan, Clifton and Jordan. Um, but yeah, I'm very excited for this match, and I think that like I'm gonna be nervous for my match. I think I'm gonna feel those nerves again for this match.
I am nervous, especially after making a call like 3-0 for Clifton. Like it gives me nerves, and I believe I'll be calling this match too.
I
So
think
I
you
have a little
are.
bit of credibility on the line here.
Yeah.
So yeah, the only thing I'll say about Clifton, and we critique each other in our training and stuff all the time. So I know he doesn't take, he takes all this seriously and not like personally or anything. The only thing I wish he would compete more, because I think Clifton's biggest weakness in his game is that 99.9% of his pulling time is with the same three hands.
And that's what I completely agree with that. Just because he talks about table translation lots, and when like Nathan's a very good training partner. The people he train with are great, but there is a bit of a strength gap there, and I think like even when you tie a strap just sideways and you're still pulling people, you're not getting the emulation you need.
Especially the
That,
hand.
that's why I really liked when he came to Edmonton, because he got to pull some different arms. People were putting him in positions. We had the leeches there who were meeting him sideways, and you had some guys who were meeting him in the hand department, and it was good for Clifton. And I do agree. Competition is important, but I also think it's hard to deny the strength that he's achieved from it. So it's a give and take. You know what I mean? You're giving some table experience and you're taking some strength.
I
So
think he's kind of on that cusp of, what we've kind of seen with what Devin's been talking about lately, where Devin feels like he doesn't have a lot more to gain from weight training, because he's kind of hit the numbers that he thinks he's capable of hitting. So he's trying to focus more on just getting as much table fluidity, table time, getting as many hands. And, of course, Devin's gone across the world and pulled thousands, so it's not like he's any stranger to that. But I also think that maybe Clifton's kind of come to that point too, where, he always surprises me by putting more weight on the pulley somehow. Like the weights just keep getting bigger.
yeah,
But I'm wondering, if he's at that point where his strength is there, and now he just really needs to just hone it all in and make sure he can apply it no matter where his opponents put him or no matter what hand he gets. Because it's hard for me to see, like, with the weights that we talk about and with the weights we see, if he gets that momentum going, like, who really can challenge him in the weights,
yeah. No, I
So
agree.
yeah,
But
I'm really excited for Clifton's future.
I think table time is important though, just because like it's really hard to emulate arm wrestling. Like you can't simulate it.
Mhm.
Like if I'm pulling someone and they take my hand and I'm just slow pulling and I'm going this way, even if it's a position I hate to be in, my tendons, my arm is developing. Like my mind muscle is developing, and I'm realizing, okay, how do I get out of this? If you're training with the right people, you can put yourself in kind of bad positions, work your way out of it, and then when it comes to a match, you have those. Whereas when you're training with people you're much stronger than, or you're training with people, the same people all the time, you don't always develop those because every hand gives you a new angle to hit. You know what I mean? So I agree with what you're saying. I think Clifton's weights are gonna go up and continue to go up, and it's very interesting how he manages to keep doing that. But there's some things you just can't emulate.
There's no handle that will suddenly re-grip you a half a second before the go, or just raise their webbing up just a little bit and get that leverage on you.
Yeah.
So.
No, very true. And yeah, that's going to be a good one. Moving on, we have the David and Goliath match. We have Leif Sorensen and Corey Miller.
And this is left-handed, I believe, correct?
I don't know. I'll look. Shoot, I'll pull it back up. Let's talk as if it's right-handed, though, just for a minute.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's left-handed.
Okay, talk like it's talk like it's left-handed. I don't know why I said right-handed.
Yeah, so
no, right-handed.
It is right-handed?
It is
okay.
Right-handed.
So that's that's a lot better. For some reason I was thinking and I saw that it was left-handed, but right-handed, I think Corey presents a lot of problems for a lot of people because he has Corey and Travis Bage, like Corey's just Travis Bage Jr. Like he just has that really high just closed grip and he just goes kind of like straight over like this, Yeah. Super fast, obviously. He's called the Flash for a reason. I think I don't know if you've got a chance to pull or talk to anyone who's pulled Leif recently, but his static strength right now is on such a high level that
Miles was telling me.
I don't. You can never count out Corey, so I'm not going to. But I think the size difference might be way too much. I think Leif has just hit a level of strength in his starting static power. I think they're gonna slip, and then Leif in the straps is just gonna be a monster. I think he's extraordinarily strong, and I think he could be number one on both hands in the state right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's got to watch out for Corey's speed and setup capabilities. But I think, like you said, if it can slip and go to straps, I have to give Leif a bit of a strength advantage. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it's an interesting one. Whole David versus Goliath is very fun. It's something new. It's something that's being explored. And I mean, with my interview with Brad Grundy, I think one thing he talked about is he's like, we're in a very fun spot in this sport where you can have little guys beating big guys.
Yes.
And I think that's very appealing to just human nature because we're so accustomed to the fact of bigger means stronger. And in arm wrestling, it doesn't always mean that. And you can really appeal just from like a viral social media perspective of, watch this, 170-pound guy beats 250-pound guy in an arm wrestle. And it's like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not saying that's going to happen here. I'm just saying I like this idea because I think it presents something that promoters should think about.
What I really see happening is I think round one, Corey's going to just kind of swat him and catch Leif a little off balance, but I think he has got a good corner, and I think he'll make the adjustments. And I think if Leif just focuses on kind of like Todd Hutchings style, where how Todd Hutchings says he slips, where he just plants his elbow really hard and just posts and just tries to stay there, I think that Corey they'll just naturally slip at that point. I don't think Corey's going to want to clamp and hold onto Leif. So I do think that first round, I could definitely see Corey just whopping him over and just completely surprising him and getting a flash pin. But Leif is so strong right now. Like if Corey does win this David and Goliath and just beats him, that would represent a crazy level to me, and it would probably hurt my feelings a little bit just because of how strong I know Leif is.
Yeah.
But again, it's not all about power, and I know that Corey has the experience and the knowledge, and he's pulled everybody, literally everybody. So if he knows how to take away someone's power or to just get around it, it's going to be Corey. But if it goes to the straps, I don't see any way that Leif could lose because he's just, tank, so strong.
Yeah, very, very strong.
If Miles has good words to say about somebody, they're...
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, I got to give Leif the edge. I'll go, not as much as I probably should, but I'm going to go like 50, I'll go 60-40.
And it's over a 40-pound weight difference, so we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's David versus Goliath for a reason. And yeah, moving on, we have the other Canadian on this card, John Terrian, is pulling Joe Fair.
So, recently interviewed these guys. Joe has a lot of really good tools to deal with John's style, his explosive hit, because Joe's hand, like you said, you've pulled Joe before, right?
I think I've gripped up with Joe a little bit, but I
Yeah, if
pulled
it
John.
was probably a long time, like 2 years ago. But
Yeah,
his his hand is so hard to deal with. It's so big and so strong that he might be able to control the setup enough to dismantle some of John's speed,
and
which I
that's
think
interesting.
is Joe's biggest concern in the match.
I think that's interesting because I think a threat that Joe poses that Clifton does not, to kind of compare, is hand size,
Yeah.
just size alone. Clifton does not have that big of a hand, so John was probably quite comfortable, whereas Joe may be making him uncomfortable. I know that when you make someone uncomfortable, it can tend to take some of that speed away.
Oh yeah.
Then that can turn into a bit of a strength battle, and then we'll see where it goes from there. I do give John the edge in this. I do have him like 65-35, to be completely honest. But I do think that that hand threat is something that is maybe forgotten about. Because I think people sometimes go, well, Clifton is crazy strong and John went right through him. But I think Clifton's hand is not as threatening. Maybe not strength-wise, but just size-wise as a guy like Joe's. Which is
Yeah,
a
and this
huge
is another
difference.
2 weight class difference. So
Yeah, and Joe's like heavy right now. Like he's gonna be like 30 pounds heavier.
yeah, it's one where I have to agree with you. Where I want to be biased, but John Therian has so much experience and so much pedigree that I feel like I would lose way too much credibility going betting against him. But again, there is a big size difference which we have to keep in mind, and it would not surprise me, even though I have to give John the edge, and you know at least 60-40, and like you said, maybe even more like 65. But it would not surprise me to see that Joe just might have a strength and control gap, and you know if he can get a win or maybe even pull off the win, it wouldn't surprise me, but it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah,
Is the main thing.
I agree.
But
Tools
yeah,
are there. I don't think it'll happen.
yeah, yeah. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, which is no. It's gonna be that's a really fun match, which leads us into our final 3 matches, which is banger after banger after banger. Logan Anderson, Jordan Sill, left arm.
Oh man,
Be
this
money
one
on
is
the table for this one too.
yeah. We'll see if it breaks last year's record, because that was insanely. He could have bought a car with that
Literally.
money. So and we had Sandris said that this was one of the matches he was most looking forward to. So that's
He did, yes.
a huge like compliment coming from him. And I believe in Logan. I think Logan's gonna be just again using a little bit of arm wrestling math. I don't think Jordan's gonna present the problems that Chuck did, and Chuck was able to get a somewhat recent win on Jordan. Although it was a lighter Jordan, that's going to be coming in. So we'll see how much that plays a difference. But I do think that if Jordan doesn't try to bully and control the setup, if he just tries to set up fair, which he typically does, God, Logan's insane. Like I just pulled him after pulling Ben, and I know I was like really hurting because me and Ben had like 2 1-minute long matches and then like a 30-second long match. So 2.5 minutes of hard pulling. But his power, like before, I could stop Logan before, but it felt like there was no chance of that. Like I just barely slowed him down, and his aggressiveness and his explosiveness, it's just all come up a level, and I believe in him. I think he's gonna pull it off. I think he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be messy. I think it's going to be messy. I think it's going to be 3-2 or 4.
Yeah, I think.
Or this one best 7? I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
I think this one's a best of 5 still.
I can see it getting messy too, just because of the way Logan is. He's very strong, but there's sometimes a lack of technical aspects there, and I think Sill will capitalize. I think it actually comes down to, can Sill take enough power away to make Logan feel not as strong? Whether he can do that or not will be interesting to find out. Nonetheless, um, you know,
And if
as
I was
much as I
Jordan, I would
want
stay out
to,
of the straps. Don't go to the
yeah,
straps with Logan.
that's
His
another,
wrist is so big that he always gets all the strap. Like
yeah,
his wrist is like that. Like literally,
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah. I actually am gonna 50-50 this match. I know that might be interesting to some people, but I just think that Sill is hard to bet against.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, I just think that if there's a technical miss from Logan, Sill will jump on it. And if that happens, it can be really tricky for Logan.
Yep. And I don't want people to think like I have some issue with Jordan or anything because I'm betting against him on both of these
You just
matches.
really know the other two guys.
I really know the other two guys and I really believe in them. And but Jordan is someone I really look up to because again, he's always been like a top guy in North America, and he's a person you can find a lot of film on, a lot of videos. I watch his matches a lot to try to learn, like, well, how did he beat like this, especially his most recent match against Vaz,
Yeah.
where he got flash pinned in the first round, and then he
That
just
was a weird one, hey?
yeah. Well, it looks like Jordan was trying to go high knuckle in the first round, and it was too much pronation. So then he gripped lower and stopped the pronation, and was able to get back control. But that just goes to show how volatile these high level matches can be. In one lane, Vaz just had enough pronation and back pressure and just flashed Jordan. And then once Jordan just clamped down on that pronation and stopped it, then he got control and made it beat him pretty fast. But I actually, one of the reasons, and I want to touch back on Clifton a little bit, was I think this is going to be both situation where Logan for the first time and Clifton for the first time is going to be the faster person, and they're not going to be catching, they're not going to be caught off guard, and I think they're going to move first because Logan's actually surprisingly fast. If you go back and watch that Lil Bender, the after pool section,
Yeah.
surprisingly for his size, really fast. And so again, I'm looking forward to this because I love Logan. I want to see him be successful, but I'm also really curious to see, kind of like with you and Brian, how Jordan decides to approach Logan and all the gifts that Logan has.
I mean, fair enough. And like you're saying, Logan's like just a stand-up guy, give you the shirt off his back kind of guy. He's a guy you always want to root for. And
He always brings me a beer, and I'm always super super happy for that. Yeah.
No, just a great guy. So I am super excited for that match. And I mean, there's a lot of what ifs on that. I get what you're saying. Like, to compare it to the Brian and I match, it's like, how do you kind of face the issues that are presented at hand? Yeah, I mean, we're jumping into the co-main event. We have Alexander Groot going against Cody Wood for arguably, like, how do I want to say this? If Groot wins, it like puts him on that East versus West level stage.
Yes.
And if Cody wins, it shows I'm back. I told you guys I'm back. Give me someone else.
Yep. I 100% agree with that because I think that there was a lot of controversy around the match with Cody Wood and Joseph Moranto. From both camps, kind of saying something might have been off or this was a problem or shouldn't have gone the way it did. So I think that, whoever wins this could be like the number one lightweight guy, potentially. And it would be cool, like you said, if Cody wins, this is back, and maybe we can get Cody and Moranto back for a rematch at the Armbender. Or if Alex wins, then he can maybe pull Moranto, and then they can, there's just so many cool outcomes that can come from this.
Yeah, I agree. And here's my thing. Like, I was in Texas when Cody and Moranto pulled, and Cody was very dominant for the first two rounds.
Yep.
Like, he had a blatant strength mismatch, whether it was endurance, whether it was Joseph changing things up. Joseph turned it around. But I think if you see Groot win here 3-1, or for some reason, it's like, okay, yeah, let's give him Moranto. Like, that's a big deal. But also, I think if Cody... See, here's my thing. I I really like this match, and I like Groot, and I know he poses a lot of hand threats, but I have a hard time seeing Cody lose this match. I really do. I am. As much as it's a co-main and it's very intriguing, it's very fun, I do think Cody has an advantage in this, and I think it's Cody's match to lose.
Cody just represents such a high level of arm wrestling. Like you said, East versus West level, world level. Like he's a world level puller, and we have Alex coming into his third year, just barely into his third year of arm wrestling. Mm-hmm. And this is why I do have Alex as my dark horse. And I know I've said this a lot, but Cody should win. So I can't stress that enough, and I can't misstate that. Cody represents the pinnacle of what lightweight arm wrestling should represent and what it should be. So Alex should not, like, for Cody to get what he wants and to stamp his name down and to show that he's back, he should smoke Alex. Like, that's in his mind, is he should make it look like it's not even a competition. Don't give me these guys because I am way too good for this.
And I agree with that. And after seeing his performance, he posted his like first tournament back post whatever injury. He was smoking guys.
He was like, whacking them.
Bang, bang, and I'm like, whoa, dude, whoa.
Yeah. And his style's unique too. I would say there's probably no way that Alex has pulled someone like him. There's no way. Like his setup, the way he that almost what does Zach call it? It's almost like a knight's move, you know?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. His I don't know. It's just very different. And but Alex is my dark horse. Like if someone's gonna pull off a big upset in this, it's gonna be him. Year. Yeah. But Cody should win, and he should win very convincingly. Like that's the arm wrestling math. Everything. If you want to believe that there's any kind of science or predictability to arm wrestling, that's what it should tell you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Great co-main event. Shout out Halftime Sports Bar for sponsoring the co-main event here, and just having the venue in general. That's super awesome of them. And you know what I mean? Do you think best of 7 plays into Groot?
Yes,
I do too.
Yeah, I think that that is kind of like what you were touching on and maybe hinting at a little bit before. Does maybe Cody have an endurance problem?
I don't know.
Is he a lightweight Dave Chafee?
Hard to say, you know what I mean? It is hard because tournament's a lot different than a super match, and whether it's an endurance issue, whether it's the fact that Moronto felt what he did wrong, felt what he did wrong, and then felt him and did it right, or was it just that, did it wrong, or maybe did it right, wasn't strong enough, did it right, wasn't strong enough, hand blows up, did it right again, works. Hard to say. I do think that plays a bit in Groot's favor. I think that can adjust some things. But I think, like you said, Cody should win. And if Cody should win, then it shouldn't matter if he has to pin him another round or not.
Right. Yeah, the strength cap should be there to where it's not really challenge. Like it's like what you were saying, with the endurance. Like if Cody's 30% stronger, then it's not going to touch his endurance.
No,
it's not even going to affect it.
Yeah, I agree. I always use this example because I was there and I love talking about it. But Matt Mask, Sergey Kalinichenko, they pulled an AWC. Sergey flashed Matt, beat him convincingly, beat him a little less convincingly, beat him less convincingly, and then lost 3 in a row. If that match is a best of 5, then everyone goes, Sergey kills Matt Mask. But the fact that it was a best of 7... it went to a silver bullet match, which Sergey ended up squeaking out a win on the right arm, and people are now like, these two are very close. You never know. Something like that could happen here, too. Cody could destroy him the first 3, and then Groot comes back, and if it's a best of 3, everyone goes, oh, well, if that were on East versus West, Cody would have killed him anyways. There would have never been a 4th round. Right. So those are things you have to consider. But nonetheless, I'm very excited. And,
there's a reason why Devin says he always wants a best of 7.
Yeah, 100% he does. Because his endurance, he's got strength and endurance, right? So it's exciting. The main event match. We also interviewed these guys, 2 days ago?
2 days, yeah.
Yeah. Sandris and Adam Warzinski. I'm excited. It's Adam poses some threats containment wise, and he poses some inside threats. But I'm also, this is just my opinion. To me, Sandris should win. Like, if Sandris is at the level everyone thinks he's at and all these things, Sandris should win, and he should win convincingly. And then he should call out whoever's next. Which, kind of interesting, but Josh in that interview kind of hinted an inkling of maybe trying to get Brad Grundy in here.
That would be really cool. I would love to see Brad.
And Sandris would be fun.
I think that would be, but there's one thing that my handwriting, my scribbling on my notes is so bad. There's a big aspect of that interview that I missed that I think is really important. Sandris has a super match on the 31st, 2 weeks before he pulls Adam.
At Lion Pride.
Yep. And if that turns out to be anything damaging, that could really affect, especially his elbow integrity. If it has any effect on his elbow integrity, those high level matches, sometimes I film for like a month. Yeah. And I think that could potentially play into it, but I think that also shows Sandris's confidence. But I think it's a little bit, I think this is going to go inside, and I do think Adam's going to get a stop. And I'm really torn on this because I really respect and have a lot of, liking and admiration for Sandris, because he was my coach my whole first year of arm wrestling. He literally built my base of who I am as an arm wrestler, and I'm really appreciative for that. And I do feel some loyalty there. But I really like Adam. I think Adam's one of my favorite North American arm wrestlers. I watch his videos. I try to learn how to improve my inside game from watching his inside game a lot. Yeah. And also North American. So I want to root for the North American, and I want to see North American winning the armbender. But I'm honestly really happy with whoever wins. But I do think that this is going to be a close match. I really think so.
No, I
think with Sandris having the match on the 31st, and the fact that I'm 100% confident from round one it's going to go inside. I think it will.
Okay.
And it's 7 rounds.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, a lot of people did write this match off, and the more you consider it, Adam's gaining weight, Sandris is doing, not a crazy cut, but he's cutting a little bit.
Yeah, like 5 kilos, yeah.
Sandris has a match 2 weeks before. Adam's coming in big, fresh, strong. It'll be interesting to see what happens, and I mean, in a perfect world, if both these guys are 100%, if it goes inside, it could be a battle. And then we'll see if the attrition's there. We'll see if, see who wants it more.
Yeah. What do you think the odds are of Sandris just having too much top end?
It's tough to say with a hand like Adam's. Mm-hmm. Because, we'll find that out right off the bat. I don't know what to give for percentage-wise, but I do know that Sandris is the type of guy that even if he has too much top, he's going to hook him once.
Yeah.
He did it with RBJ. Held him a little bit, worked, but yeah, what's the lever difference?
I think it's pretty big. I think it's like 3 or 4. I think it might be 3 inches.
See, but that's big enough where it could be a disadvantage.
Yeah,
because that's at the point where you're dropping lever a little bit.
Yeah, dropping lever a lot potentially, and that means Adams could be really bunched up, and if he can get to the back of his pad, it's going to be kind of like, did you see his match with Eric Wolf?
Yes. So
I think it could be kind of similar, although obviously Eric pulls very different than Sandris. But, okay, maybe Sandris has like a little bit of that top end and he pulls back, but then Adam gets back into his like sideways kind of just death trap, that he gets everyone in. And
yeah, for sure.
Man, I'm just super excited. But like, again, Sandris should win. Like you said, he has all the accolades. He's competed at an overall higher level, I would say. He has wars with a number 115 in the world in Renaud and Ibrahim. Yeah. Wars with both of them. So he should absolutely win. But I think there's a lot of factors in this match. And I want to believe in what Todd Hutchings says. We're at this top level, at the world level, the weight classes don't matter as much as you think until they start getting to extremes. Because there's only so much strength you can build in this region, you know, and then other factors start mattering. So, man, I really, 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 really want to see the fireworks from Adam. I really want to see it. I want to, but
Yeah.
I
No,
can't
I'm
bet against
excited.
Sandris. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm excited. This is going to cap off a great armbender. I think it's going to be fun. Anyway, whatever match goes, it's going to be a great time. Shout out again all the sponsors that I mentioned earlier. Thank you so much, Bensky Towing especially. I know you put so much into this. Josh Wilson for helping out. Yourself, Andrew. I mean, check out Arm Fanatic YouTube. He's doing all the interviews. It's great. I get to be on a few when I'm capable. And yeah, guys, it's going to be great predictions. I'm super pumped. I'm super excited. You're not going to want to miss it. But, I mean, that's pretty much all I got for today. We covered everything. It's going to be a phenomenal time. I'm going to try and get a ton of after pull footage, a bunch of guys after pulling. I know Josh is really good at getting after pull footage.
Oh, yeah.
Posting it.
He's always there with the camera.
He's sneaking. So, yeah, it's going to be a great time. But yeah, guys, again, thanks for checking this interview out. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend, check out Andrew's YouTube, and we'll go from there, guys. See you in the next video.
Yes.